Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Patty, and on Mondays I make gnomes, characters, and animals. And today we are going to make a super easy, super cute little scarecrow gnome. If you want to know how to make this little guy, stick around. I'll show you how. And be sure and give me a thumbs up because it really does help my channel. Thank y'all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Okay, to start with, we're taking a 2 1/4 inch pool noodle and cutting it at 4 1/2 inches in length. Okay, then I got this straw hat at Hobby Lobby, and I'm just going to cut it a little bit shorter, or not so round, so that you can see his beard once you get it on. And I'm just kind of zigzagging a little bit around it, just kind of making it look a little bit worn out. And then I'm going to cut the top part off, and I'm going to cut it a little bit shorter here in a minute too. So I'm going to come down pretty good bit on this one because I am going to run his hair through the top part. Just go a little bit shorter. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and cut out the hair. And I just want to show you real quick, if you have fur that kind of gets wrinkled and stuff like that and it makes waves in it, just take your blow dryer and just kind of rub it down here like this. And I have mine on a medium setting, and it should straighten all that out if you have fur that, like if you fold it or anything like that, which I do sometimes. Next, I'm just going to trace my noodle onto my faux fur on the backing part of it, and then I'm just going to cut this circle out, and that's what I'm going to use for the top of his head for his hair. And I'll give you the link for this fur if you want this. This is the same one that I used on my Highland cow. And then I'm just going to glue it right to the top. Next, for the shirt, I'm taking an 8 3/4 inch wide by 6 1/4 inch tall piece of fabric, and I am going to glue a hem on the 8 3/4 inch side and one of the 6 1/4 inch sides. Okay, then we're going to make a casing at the top to draw it up. So just take a piece of string, fold this over about a 1/2 inch, and then glue it down. Now try not to get glue on your string, otherwise you won't be able to draw this up. Just kind of take your time on this part and just kind of make sure that you do get it past that string and that you tuck that string on in. This is easier than if you, unless you want to sew a casing, you can just sew that on there as well. And then we're going to go ahead and draw it up a little bit. I'm going to cut off one side and glue it in. And then I'm going to go ahead and overlap it, and I'm going to start gluing it down. So just go ahead and fold it over the finished edge over and glue it to the unfinished edge. And then go ahead and place it over your pool noodle, and then we're going to start drawing it up. And we're not going to draw it up a lot. There's not a lot of give in this. I just wanted to be a little bit looser on the body than being snug with it. So that's why I did it this way. Just kind of get it even with the pool noodle, and then just start pulling it tight, and then go ahead and start gluing it down. You don't even have to tie that off. Just kind of just get it in there while it's pulled tight. And then go ahead and glue that in, and then cut that off. Okay, next I'm just going to take a piece of jute twine, and I'm going to tie it around the waist, and I'm going to tie it off to the side. Somebody's in my video. And then just go ahead and cut that. Well, we're not going to cut it off yet, so go ahead and pull it on down so it's right at his waist. So put your hat on, pull it on down, and get it right down to the waist area. Next, I'm going to take some faux fur, and I'm going to cut it at 1 3/4 wide by 2 1/4 at long. And then I'm just going to go in a U shape all the way around. Now, if that's not the measurement that it looked like it was on the ruler, I did change it up a little bit. So go by the measurement I just gave you. And then go ahead and clean off the excess. Okay, next I'm just going to attach the beard right up to the top edge, opposite the side of where the seam in the back is. And I'm just going to glue that right onto it, onto the fabric. Just make sure your seam's in the back. Okay, next I'm taking a 1/4 inch by 10 inch dowel stick, and I'm going to sharpen one end of it. And I'm just going to go ahead and stick it right through the side, and this is going to be for the arms. And we are going to cut them a little bit short here in a minute, but just go ahead and stick it right through there. It should poke right through your fabric and right through your noodle all the way to the other side. That way you'll make sure that your arms are straight across from each other once you get your arms put together. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut off the pointy edge, and then I'm going to cut these a little bit shorter. Now, cut them where they're 2.5 inches on each side, because I did cut them a couple of times. I started at 2 3/4, then I went to 2.5. Go ahead and do it at 2.5 now. Otherwise, you're going to have to pull the sleeve up and do it then. Okay, next I'm just going to take 2 little 5/16 inch nuts, and I'm just going to put it on each side of my little sticks, and then I'm going to glue those in, and that's what's going to hold that stick in place and keep it from coming out. Just make sure that your measurements are equal on both sides, and you do only have 2.5 inches sticking out from each side. Okay, next we're going to make the sleeves. It's a 2.5 by 3.5, and I'm going to hem up the 2.5 inch sides on both sides, and then one of the 3.5 inch side. And then I'm just going to fold this into thirds and glue it over. Just so fold that one in a third, and then fold the other one over the top of it, because we're going to slide these over the little stick here in a minute. And do the same thing with the opposite arm. And then we're just going to slide them right up over the sticks, and we are going to glue them to the nut. And then glue the bottom of it as well. And then we're going to do exactly the same thing with the opposite arm. Okay, then we're going to take some raffia, and we're just going to kind of make a little bundle, and I'm just going to put a little rubber band around it. Just enough to get up into the sleeve, and I'm just going to cut it off it's probably about 1.5 inches. And I'm going to cut 2 of those for both of his hands. And then we're just going to stick them right up into his sleeves. And then I didn't show you to glue these in. I went straight to tying them in, but go ahead and put a little bit of glue inside of his arm to hold those in place. Kind of bunch it up in there until you get to the end of that stick, and then just tie that off. But do add some glue first. And then do the same thing with the opposite arm. And I'm tying mine in 2 knots, and then go ahead and clip it off. And then just go ahead and cut his belt down to the end of his jacket. Next, I'm going to take a cork, and this is how I'm going to make him stand up. I'm going to take a dowel stick, sharpen it, and that's 1/4 by 6 inch, and I'm just going to twist it till it goes down into this cork. And that's a synthetic cork. And then I'm just going to glue that in, and that's how I'm going to make him stand up. And then I'm going to take 2 more dowel sticks, sharpen them for his legs. Okay, next we're going to make the legs. We're taking a 4 inch wide by 4 1/4 inch tall piece of fabric, and we are going to hem up 1 long side and 2 short sides. Now I cut my fabric on the edge of the fabric, so I didn't have to do one of my sides on this one, but if you didn't, you need to go ahead and hem up 3 sides. And then we're just going to fold these over 3/4 of an inch until we get to the opposite side to glue that over. So 3/4 of an inch, and just keep rolling it till you get to the opposite side, and then we're going to glue it together. So you're just making like a little sleeve. And then just go ahead and glue down that one side, and then do the same thing with the opposite leg. So it's like a tube. For his feet, we're just going to do the same thing with the raffia. We're just going to take 2 little bundles, wrap little rubber bands around them to hold them together, and then we're going to cut these off at 3.5 inches. Just get enough in there where they do, you know, it's got a pretty good bit and you can still get it inside his pant leg. And then I'm taking another bundle, and this is what's going to cover up the stick, and I'm going to cut it about 7 inches. And next, go ahead and put your leg into there, put your raffia in there, and then we are going to glue that in. Okay, we're going to go ahead and put his legs in at a diagonal, kind of facing outward on both sides so that we can get that other stick down into the center to go ahead and mount him on our pumpkin. And just go ahead and put your stick on up in there, and then we're going to test fit it into the pumpkin so we can make sure that we get our legs exactly where they need to be before we glue them in. And I'm just going to take the top part of my pumpkin off. I'm going to take a hot glue gun, put it right down in the center to open up the hole, and then I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom, and then I'm going to add some weights down into the bottom of this pumpkin. And I'm just going to take a stick and kind of waller it out so I can get the weights in there. And these are just 5/16" nuts. I'm just pushing them down in here, and I'm using about 5 of them in this. Now push them way down in there. You can get them to go in there, but you are going to have some weight. Then just cut a piece of felt out and just cover up the bottom and glue it on. That way you'll hold in those little nuts. Okay, now go ahead and take your legs back out, and we're going to glue these in. Okay, now take that same jute that you tied around the arms and just go ahead and tie it around the bottom of his legs. Okay, pull his hair on up on top, and then go ahead and put some glue all the way around the top edge, and we're going to go ahead and put the hat on. And then I'm going to spot glue it in the back and then on both sides as well. Okay, then for his nose, I'm just using a 15mm bead, and I'm just going to glue it right to the beard, and I'm going to cover up the top hole with the top of the hat and the bottom hole with his beard, and just go ahead and glue that hat right down to that nose. Okay, then I'm going to take that raffia that I had made earlier, the 7-inch one, and I'm just going to cover up the stick, and I'm just going to glue that right up to the top part of that part of the stick and let it come on, drape on down. That way you don't see that stick sticking out, and then when we attach it to the pumpkin, we can kind of blend it in. And I'm just going to go ahead and put a piece of jute around the bottom part of it just to hold it all together. But I did glue the top part in already. That way you don't just see the stick sticking through there. Or you could paint it, either one, but it'd look better like this. Then I'm just going to go ahead and attach this to the pumpkin. Put a little bit more glue in there because it needed a little bit more. And then I'm going to trim the raffia kind of up to where the pumpkin is. All right, that was pretty easy. He's a pretty simple little guy. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the video. He was super easy to make. If you like these kind of videos, be sure and give me a like, subscribe, and ring that bell to be notified when I have a new video upload. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it.